Have you ever stood at the edge of an idea, that shimmering thought that feels both incredible and impossible at the same time? Have you ever felt that quiet whisper inside saying, "What if this could be real?" Dreams, they begin in silence, fragile, invisible, yet they hold the power to reshape everything we know. Somewhere in Seattle, a young architect named Ethan Miles often stayed late in his studio. While the city outside sparkled with lights, his desk was scattered with sketches, coffee stains, and the unshakable hum of what if. Ethan wasn't designing buildings for clients that night. He was drawing something for himself, a bridge. Not just any bridge, but one that would connect the city's two forgotten neighborhoods, separated by a long, abandoned canal. It wasn't for fame, it wasn't for money. It was a dream born from something deeper. He had grown up on one side of that canal, watching families struggle to cross, watching opportunities fade with distance. And now, with experience and vision, he wanted to reconnect what had once been whole. But the truth about dreams is that they start as fog. They're formless, distant, and so easy to dismiss. Ethan would stare at his early sketches, messy, incomplete, absurd even, and that voice inside whispered, "Who do you think you are?" He'd close his eyes, take a deep breath, and remind himself, every masterpiece begins as a mess. So, he kept sketching the dreamscape. That's where all beginnings live. It's the realm before shape, before reason, before logic steps in and says no. It's where vision begins to breathe. Ethan started translating that invisible spark into something visible. He built models, he ran simulations, he reached out to engineers. But the more he worked, the more doubt showed up. The city council rejected his early proposal. Investors said it was too risky. His colleagues warned him not to waste his time. Still, deep down, he knew something they didn't. This wasn't just a bridge of steel and stone. It was a bridge of belief. Every dream begins with an unmet need, and it's belief that builds the span across uncertainty. Ethan began breaking down the impossible into steps. One design sketch became a presentation. One conversation became a meeting. One rejection became a lesson. He learned that momentum isn't built from leaps, but from consistent effort. He stopped waiting for the world to believe in him and chose to believe in himself first. That shift changed everything. He refined his plans, simplified the structure, gathered data to prove feasibility. With time, local communities began to see the potential. Schools, businesses, even artists offered to help visualize the project. The bridge was no longer his dream, it was theirs. Construction began 2 years later, and it was nothing like the vision. Storms delayed progress, funding ran low, equipment broke. At one point, an accident forced them to halt for weeks. Ethan sat by the half-built structure, staring at the unfinished arch against a gray sky. It looked nothing like the glowing render on his screen. But that's the moment every dreamer faces, when reality seems to mock the dream. And yet, that's also the moment that forges them. He realized that building a bridge isn't just about concrete and steel. It's about resilience. He returned the next morning, soaked from rain, but with fire in his eyes. He rallied his team. They worked longer hours. They adapted designs to save costs. They innovated when old methods failed. Every setback became a stepping stone. Every small victory, a reason to keep going. And then one morning, 3 years after that first late-night sketch, the bridge stood completed. Simple, elegant, strong. The two neighborhoods, once divided, were now connected. Families walked across it. Kids rode their bikes. People stopped to take photos at sunset. Ethan stood at the center of his creation, the wind brushing against his face. He didn't feel pride, he felt peace. Because he realized something profound. Dreams don't come true because we wish harder. They come true because we build the bridge, piece by piece, belief by belief. He looked down at the water below, the reflection of his bridge shimmering in ripples of gold and blue, and whispered to himself, it was never about the bridge. It was about who I became while building it. Weeks later, as the city celebrated the opening, Ethan received a letter from a high school student living nearby. It read, "Mr. Miles, I cross your bridge every morning. It makes me believe I can become an architect too." Ethan smiled, because that's the beauty of dreams. They multiply. When you build one bridge, you empower others to build their own. So, what's your bridge? What vision lives quietly in your heart, waiting to take shape? Remember this: Every dream starts as fog until you dare to give it form. If this story resonated with you, take a moment tonight to write down one dream you've been hiding from. Don't think about how you'll do it. Just start drawing your first line and tell me in the comments, what's the bridge you're ready to build? Like, subscribe and share this story if you believe that the invisible can become real. One step, one belief, one bridge at a time.